What's going on YouTube, it's your boy Kindred, coming back to another video here, man. Coming back to my reworked series, reworking perks in Dead by Daylight. This time we're going to be reworking Kindred. With the new changes coming out in the 6.5 quality of life patch, the survivor is going to buff to its HUD. This is going to help not only solo queue survivors but new survivors as well. The survivor HUD will now feature indicators that appears whenever you or any other survivor engages in an activity. Activities include repairing the generator, being chased by the killer, healing, recovering from the dying state, cleansing or blessing the totem, opening an exit gate, or interacting with the killer's powers. You might be thinking, what does this have to do with reworking Kindred? But let me explain. I believe that current Kindred should be base kit. I always thought that it made sense, and it was especially to help out like newer survivors. It was nothing too overpowered about having Kindred as base kit. If a survivor gets hooked, I've always believed that you should be able to see what all your other teammates are doing. I don't think that should have been a perk. Kindred should have been base kit before borrowed time should have been base kit. But with these new changes coming to the survivor HUD, making Kindred base kit may not be needed because you are getting information from what your teammates are doing. The only thing is they can't see each other's auras, so they won't know each other's positions or who is closer to the hook to go see the person that's on hook, which isn't a major deal. It seems like the devs really didn't want to make Kindred base kit because, like I said, I'm not the first person who thought Kindred should have been base kit. The reason people believe Kindred should be base kit is the same reason why they're buffing the survivor HUD now, which is the solo queue experience. Survivors are meant to work together to escape the trial, and it's hard to do that when there is no communication or indication on what your other survivor teammates are doing. And it still seems that the devs are holding out on game chat, which is the communication factor, so they added indications, which is the new HUD system instead. With these new changes, we might not see Kindred run as often since survivors will now know what each teammate is doing and if any survivor is getting chased. Without Kindred in the new survivor HUD, we will inadvertently know if a killer is camping just off the indicators. There is no camping indicator, but if no survivor is in chase, we'll be able to get a good idea of what the killer is doing. So as for Kindred, the current perk description reads, unlocks potential in one aura's reading ability. When you're on the hook, all survivor auras are revealed to all other survivors. If the killer is within an 8, 12, 16 meter range, the killer's aura is revealed to all other survivors. Now, what I believe the perk should be reworked to is, while you're on the hook, all survivors receive a 6, 8, or 10% generator repair speed bonus if the killer is in an 8, 12, or 16 meter range of the hooked survivor. Also, while you're on the hook timer slows down by 10, 12, or 15%. If the killer is within an 8, 12, or 16 meter range, the killer's aura is revealed to all other survivors. Killer suffers from the blinded status effect while in an 8, 12, or 16 meter range of the hooked survivor. And the reason for these changes is because of two main reasons. One being, with the new survivor HUD changes, Kindred is mostly only useful now for seeing the killer's aura if they're camping, which mostly only benefited people who are playing solo queue anyway, because people in Swifts have actual communication. No one in the Swift is going to be running Kindred. Two being, Dead by Daylight has had a problem with camping and tunneling killers. It's not against the rules, but it is frowned upon, at least by half the Dead by Daylight community. We have seen more camping and tunneling ever since patch 6.1 came out, which was a meta shakeup patch. Camping and tunneling is a strategy, so to speak, but it's not necessarily needed to win the game. Killers might camp or tunnel for various reasons. They could be trash at the game, they could be doing it out of spite, they don't like a survivor played better than him and they got ran the whole match, or they might have already lost 4 to 5 gens and camping or tunneling is their only way to get at least one kill or get all the kills, or something in between. Dead by Daylight has made anti-tunnel perks such as borrowed time, off the record, and decisive strike, but the only anti-camp, and I put that in air quotes, perks are kinship and resurgence. The reason I air quote anti-camp is because these perks really don't do anything to de-incentivize camping. These perks only pause the hook timer. Dead by Daylight has killer perks that promote you to camp, such as Insidious. A basement bubba with Insidious is just a free down. There are even killers whose power just make it easier to camp. Trapper is an example. Specifically a basement trapper, but a shack basement trapper is probably one of the most frustrating things to go against, especially if you're inexperienced going against a shack basement trapper. The basement shack trapper usually runs the add-ons like makeshift wrap, trapper sack, tension spring, honing stone, and or bloody coil. Your plan is to get one survivor in the basement and to trap the entire shack, both door entrances, the window, and multiple traps going down the staircase into the basement. Even if a survivor does get into the shack, you are now trapped inside the shack since every other entrance is trapped. Throw agitation, mad grit, and maybe even starstruck, and you have the ultimate basement camper outside of Bubba. With a new addition of the knight in the game, he should be called the camper. I'm sure we all have seen the knight just use his power to camp survivors on the a hook. You can use his power to even double camp now. You can use one of his guards to just camp the hook while he proxy camps the area. Even a hag is a killer that promotes camping. She's a top 2 killer that promotes the most camping without the use of any perks or add-ons. Her power simply allows her to teleport back to the hook if someone walks into her trap, and she can also set way more traps than the trapper. Imagine having the name trapper, but you can't set the most traps. It's kind of funny, right? Having to crouch by the hag's traps is the only way to not set them off, but it's a tedious process. With all that being said, on how Dead by Daylight promotes killer camping, there isn't really much on the survivor side that it can counter killer camping. So with this rework of Kindred, survivors will finally have something that counters killer camping. You'll be now able to finish gens faster and have a better chance to save your teammate as being camped. And that's what the perk really is meant for. I believe Dead by Daylight shouldn't promote that style of play from the killer, nor do I like going against that style of play when playing as a survivor. But since not much has been done to de-incentivize or stop killers from playing that way, then maybe they should at least give the survivors the opportunity to counter that style of play. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Is reworking Kindred the right way to go? Do these changes seem fair or overpowered, or do they not seem powerful enough? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm also on TikTok also. Turn on the notification bell because YouTube always doesn't recommend when I upload. But until next time, it's your boy NK Rudy, signing off.
Back up if a nigga act up, then he getting clapped up, y'all. Tell your bitch to back up, she just wanna chill, she just wanna split my pack up, y'all.